not going to make you do this by hand the entire time. There is a reason we have technology. So our technology, whether it's the computer or our calculator, the calculator is what I'm going to have you use in class on test, can find those 5 numbers for you. So you can follow the pattern that we just did above to find them by hand. And that's going to work. Put your data values in order, find the median, take the lower half to get the median of that, gives you your 25%. Take the upper half, gives you your 75%. But I don't necessarily need you to do that process. I just need us to be able to get the numbers and then make our box plot. So the number of motorcyclists found in 10 states of the United States is those numbers, and we want to construct a box plot for it. So I'm going to have us find these 5 numbers using the calculator first, and then we can look at how to use this is where we want to start. I want to start at my min, and I'm going to put a vertical line and have my 30. Then I'm going to go over till about the distance I think 47 is. And that's where our box starts. So I'm going to start my box, and we're going to go to our 83.5. And then we're going to go to 164, which is where the end of my quartile 3 is. That's where my box ends. And then I do a line again to get to my max. And I say out here to 296. Might not be exact because I'm just freehanding it, but it gives me an idea. Questions on it? Well, we didn't find the outliers yet. We have to find our fences. So, but I was going to have us do that so we'd see how they fit on here. I'm not sure these ones fit on here, but we'll figure it out. We can do it back with the other one too. So, to find outliers, we need to find that lower fence and our upper, which, just as a reminder, was Q1 minus 1.5 times the IQR, and Q3 plus 1.5 times the IQR. And our IQR in this case is equal to what? Well, 164 minus, so 117. And then let's figure out what those fences are. So 47 minus 1.5 times 117. And 164 plus 1.5 times 117. The IQR. So if you do 164 minus the 47, what do we get for that lower fence? 128.5. All right. How about our upper? All right. Well, those aren't even on our charts. So in our particular data set, we don't have any outliers because you'd have to be past those numbers in order to have an outlier. But right now we can kind of look at this and get an idea of the spread of our data and where things are. In a calculator? So yeah, we could say our real cheese is going in L1 and our substitute is going to go in L2. So let's do that. Maybe. So 3 110, 420, 45, 40, 20, 230, 180, and 90. And 270, 180, 250, 290, 106, or 130. Every time you reset your RAM? All right. Now that I have the list of numbers in there, I'm going to go run separately the one var stat on each one of them. So I'll do my real one first, which is in L1. And if I come down, I'm going to get to my information. I'll have to scroll to figure out what those 5 numbers are. So I have a min of 40, a quartile 1 of 67.5, median of 200, quartile 3 is 275, and max of 240. So let's take that information back. So I've got a min of 40. Q1, what was Q1? 67.5. My median is what? Q3 is 275. And what was the max? All right. Now let's go run that same function, but this time tell it to focus on list 2. Second, number 2, yeah. All right, so we have a min of 130, Q1 of 215, median of 265, Q3 is 300, and max is 340. All right, let's see how much I can remember this time. So, my min is 130, Q1 is, was it 215? Median is what? 265. Q3 is, and the max 340. All right. Now, since I am trying to compare these two things, I'm going to make a number line on the bottom to try to keep me consistent so that it kind of helps me. So we'll go from 0, I'm going to make kind of big jumps, to 100, 200, 300, 400. So I think that should be a pretty good range for me. Try to make it a little bit more even. All right, and I'll make the first box plot for the real cheese first. So we want to start at 40 with our minimum. And then we're going to go to 67.5. And then we have a median of 200. And 275 for quartile 3. And lastly, our max goes out to 220 or 420. Now, based on that same spacing, I'm going to try to make the one for the substitute. So at 130 for our minimum, and we want to go to 215 for our quartile 1. Our median is 265. Quartile 3 should go up to 300. That's a little overdrawn. And then a max of 340. So if I want to compare these two, now that they're put together, what would you say? What are some things we'd say to compare them? There appears to be less salt in the real cheese. The substitute tends to be higher overall. We notice that because the minimum of the substitute is much higher than our minimum for the real cheese. But the bulk of our data for the substitute, quartile 1 is even above the median for the real cheese. So 75% of the sodium content in the substitute is above the 50% mark for our real cheese. What's something else that we could say about the two cheeses? Well, there's a lot more variation in the real cheese, right? It's much more spread out and it's not as consistent. So one other thing we can get from this is that our substitute is a lot more consistent in the amount that's in it, whereas depending on what type of real cheese you have, the sodium content can have a wide range that's happening in there. Any questions on that? Data that represents the days off per year for a sample of individuals selected for 9 different countries. Find the mean. So if I'm going to find the mean, this is a sample, so I'm finding X bar. It doesn't matter what order you add them up in, we're just going to add them up. So 20 plus 26 plus 40 plus 36 plus 23 plus 42 plus 35 plus 24 and plus 30. And we have 9 different data points, so we'll divide by 9. And let's see what that gives us for our mean. Two. Yeah, that's for the top or the overall thing? Overall. Yeah, I think if you add them and divide, so if I add them, I get 276, I think. And when I divide, I get 30.7. Okay.